So moving on to season 3 of the X-Files. Now, the first thing that is noteworthy here to me is that modern television shows, and granted, there's reasons for sure, but, you know, with bigger shows, the Stranger Things, all these big shows, they always have years in between seasons now. You know, and as a kid growing up, there was a year at most. But with something like the X-Files, the last episode of the X-Files season 2 was May 19th. The first episode of season 3 was September 22nd. Same year. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And this is a show with 25 episodes one season and 24 the next. These shows now have like The Boys. They have 8 episodes. And there's 2 years plus in between seasons. You're getting 1/3 as many episodes. And, 5-6 times the weight compared to something like this. Now, as I said, granted, these are harder to make now. They have much bigger budgets. They have, special effects that have to be worked on. These special effects guys are overrun with visual effects jobs now. They're trying to get so many of these shots done. And it just takes more. There's more characters. There's more connectivity. There's more attention. People are very detail-oriented now with what they watch. They're just the continuity isn't correct. In the last episode, when we saw them, their bang was like this, and in the next episode, it was over here.
Well, that's also because people can rewatch things a lot easier because of streaming services.
Full HD.
Yeah, so it definitely takes more time to make shows today. Yeah. But yeah, it is pretty amazing how quickly they got a season 2.
Oh,
you didn't have to wait that long at all.
Yeah, and the same thing is true of when I was looking up season 5, because season 5 goes into the movie, and then the movie goes into the 6th season, and we'll talk about that then. I'll bring it up again, I'm sure, at the end of season 5. But that's going to be a while from now. But season 5 ends, the movie comes out 3 weeks later, and then the next season's a few months later.
Wild.
So you don't have to wait at all.
No.
It's kind of wild. And when you're doing 25 episodes, even if you're not skipping a single week, some shows will take a week off or something for a holiday or whatever.
Yeah.
But even if you're going straight, that's half the year right there. As opposed to 8 weeks now, some of these shows, they do the 2-episode premiere or 3-episode premiere sometimes, and you get 3 episodes all at once, or shit with The Bear. It's we drop all the episodes on the same day. Every Netflix show for the most part does this, right? Where Squid Game, what is it? By the time the new one comes out, it's going to be 3 years.
Crazy.
Right? So it's it's crazy to me how long it takes for these things to get made. But the quality on a lot of these shows is fantastic.
Oh, sure.
So it's not you're exchanging it for a lesser product in my mind.
No, I think it's warranted.
But it's just, it's noteworthy here to look at these kinds of shows and be wow. What is that? June, July, August, September, 4 months?
Yeah.
4 months? Could you imagine if The Bear was coming back in 4 months?
Oh, man.
Or The Boys was going to end in 4 months? That'd be great. But we also have to wait, and it prolongs it. So that's cool that shows like this, the X-Files used to do this stuff. Anyway, all right, so Scully is suspended from the FBI. Mulder is thought to be dead. Scully, I don't know if this is a psychic thing or something. She gets a feeling that Mulder's still alive.
Yeah.
She gets some thing in the mail, but there's no confirmation at all. And she even goes to Mulder's mom and is doesn't tell her what everyone thinks, that he's dead. She's like, oh, yeah, like, we'll find him. Like, he'll come home. Which is pretty bold to do to someone who you're going to their husband's funeral. I mean, I get it. You don't want to tell her that day. Your kid's probably dead. I'm sorry you're at your husband's funeral, but your son's also dead.
I mean, yeah, I like the dream that she has. I think it shows that they're connected.
Yeah.
And, she's not really a stranger to having, because when she was in like a coma, she was having dreams or visions or whatever you want to call it. And I think she listens to her gut in this. And a lot happens in this episode.
Yeah.
This is a pretty packed first episode of the season, I'd say.
Yeah, because Mulder visits her in her dream and tells her some stuff. And then she wakes up and is like, he's alive. Yeah. Which, I don't know. I mean, is that psychic?
He says in her dream, like, I stayed, or like I haven't left you, and like I'm whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a what we would call a psychic connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You think she got that from her near-death experience?
Yeah, I do think that she's more in touch with those things since having that.
Or is it because Mulder is in like the spirit world because he visits with Deep Throat? Yeah. He visits with his father? Yeah. Right?
He is on the cusp of life and death. So yeah, he has visits from people who have passed on. I mean, yeah, I think that he probably would try and talk to her either way, but whether she would be receptive to it or not, I think her having the near-death experience makes her a little bit more open to it.
Yeah.
So.
I agree with that. And once again, we get some good continuity here with Scully caring very much what her dad thinks about her even after death, right? We have an episode in maybe season 1 after he dies, and she goes to her mom and she's like, was he proud of me? Mm-hmm. And she's like, he's your father, whatever. And then this episode, she's like crying in her mom's arms. She goes to their mom's house, and it's always interesting to see Scully so vulnerable, and even like almost childlike, because she's like, going to her mom for comfort and hugging on her and being like, Dad would be so ashamed of me, or like, something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's along those lines.
Yeah, I like seeing this side of Scully because I think it makes her more relatable and human, obviously. So I think it's very sweet and very, it's sad, obviously. She's not there under any good circumstances.
I had read in the previous episode for Anasazi that where they were filming didn't have rocks that matched the terrain that they were doing on like set, so they had to like paint the rocks the color, the red color that we have out here in the Southwest. And I didn't notice. I was like, this all looks good. Like, this all just looks like, because I lived in Sedona for 20 years. It's the red rocks. I've been around a lot of red rocks in my life. Most of the rocks that I'm familiar with are red. So I'm very attuned to that color palette on a rock. And I didn't notice anything. This episode, on the other hand, there were a couple moments, especially with the rocks that they're moving away from Mulder, which, of course, those are not real rocks. Yeah. So they're more noticeable. But everything around him is like spray painted red.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is noticeable.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And the rocks look extremely fake. So I thought that was funny because I was looking for it in the last episode after I read that in the trivia, and I was like, they did a great job, but I can't tell. It looks like normal red rock.
But not in this part.
In this episode. So it's possible, though, that while filming, because this is kind of like a triple episode, we get a to be continue leave off from Anasazi, episode 25 of season 2. We get it here in the Blessing Way, And then this leaves off on the cliffhanger of Mulder and Scully and Skinner pointing guns at each other, and someone's at the door. So this whole story is like a 3-episode arc.
Yeah.
And so it is possible that they filmed all 3 of these back to back.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Right?
Yeah, it would make the most sense.
They filmed the whole season back to back, but I mean, like, typically when you take on an episode, you film things like out of sequence, but you finish the episode.
Yeah.
As to where, now, that was how they did things back then. Nowadays, who the fuck knows? They're probably filming the whole season at once. But typically, to my knowledge, they typically would, like, do an episode. Like our 3rd episode of this season, DPO, the one with Giovanni Ribisi and whatever. There's no way they were filming scenes from, like, episode 4 or episode 2 or whatever at the same time that they were filming that.
Yeah.
There's no way. So this arc, I definitely believe they filmed all of this at once, and maybe that trivia is more relevant to this episode than it is that episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that's a lot of time spent on The Color of Rocks. Yeah, Sinister Cinema. That's what we do here. We see... Okay, so the aliens that are massacred in the train car. It's said that they have the polio vaccination marks on their body. And when they find the files, which is in the next episode, they talk about how, like, they used the vaccination as a data collecting resource to take on these files to see who is, like, hybridable.
Right.
And did they, like... did they try to take humans who got that past the test, they abducted them like Samantha, and then tried to genetically change them? I thought there would be like a splicing of their baby, like something like they would give birth to, or they would try to create in a lab something from their DNA and something from the alien DNA and splice it together. But if that's the case, then why do those things have polio vaccinations? I would think that the scars would be on the people who got the polio vaccination, not the alien beings. Like, they wouldn't have to have a polio vaccination.
Maybe they do because they're hybrids.
But why?
Because they have human DNA and they are susceptible to polio.
But they don't care about that. They're just trying to see if that they can do it. And there's so many of them, and they're all seemingly the same age and size and everything.
I don't know that... I mean, I definitely didn't take it that they were trying to turn humans into aliens. I took it as either what you said, like they're trying to take genetic material from each and, like, test tube make something.
Yeah.
Or what most likely is the case, because it's, like, what everybody talks about is, like, impregnating females with, like, human females with alien DNA. That's what I thought. So, but as far as the polio vaccines, the marks, I guess I don't really have an explanation for why they're on the hybrids that they find.
I'm not crazy,
So,
right? They do find...
I thought that was the case. I thought he noticed it, but I don't really remember now.
Admission here. Before we review these, I always read the Wikipedia breakdown of the plot synopsis, because we usually wait too freaking long, and then I want a refresher, but I don't have time to watch the whole episode, so I just read that really fast. And in there, and I thought I had remembered that, so when I read it, it said like the remains had polio vaccinations on them. I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And then that was when I started going down that rabbit hole in my head of like, I don't understand why those things would have the vaccination. So I'd like to actually watch the scene again. And if they don't, then no problem. And I'm just misremembering it, and either I read it wrong on there too, or they are wrong as well. I'm totally fine with that. In fact, I'd prefer to be wrong because I don't think it makes any sense.
I definitely know that
unless it is what I'm saying, unless they are literally trying to turn humans into them.
That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, they definitely use the polio vaccination records, which we find out in, I think, the next episode, like you said. Yeah. Like, that's how they're getting the people that are, like, a viable option.
Correct.
So, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't either. So, okay. We'll look for that, and maybe we'll talk about it in the next episode. Maybe I'll throw
clarify.
Yeah, because we're not going to record that till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch that scene again really quick. That's in episode 25, though. Or maybe, no, it's in this one. I think it might, because we get a flash of what Mulder sees when he's, like, looking at them. So, I don't know. But it doesn't make much sense to me if they really do have polio markings. Anyway. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, they're massacred by cyanide, which is just brutal. I mean, that scene is, like, evil. Even though they're, like, these hybrid freak monsters.
Oh,
seeing
it's horrible.
any living being.
They're, like, all scared and frantic. Yeah.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And then we get... Scully finds a chip in her back, which she walks through the metal detector and then has them scan it. The doctor cuts it out.
Yep.
So this chick's got some tracking device in her.
Yeah.
And I keep going off of the notes here. After Mulder is given the blessing way ritual, he has said he can't bathe for 4 days. I always love the arbitrary rules of these rituals. Like, you can't do this for 42 hours. Like, what? What if I do it at 41?
Yeah.
Then you'll die. So then Scully is told by the well-manicured man, which is a new character here. He's like the counter. But he's also working alongside of the Smoking Man. But we're seeing a much different side of the Smoking Man in this, these few episodes. Yeah. He is very frantic.
Yes. He's very angry, very upset.
To me, what this is supposed to illustrate is that, and this is something similar to like how they were able to make Thanos an immediate threat to the audience to make them understand very quickly. And it was a very smart way of doing this. So at the beginning of Infinity War, they do the whole moment where Thanos is there and Loki's like, and we have a Hulk. And the Hulk comes in and it's like, oh, it's the Hulk. It's over. It's, the Hulk can beat the shit out of anyone. And Thanos obliterates him.
Yeah.
Like he's nothing. And it's like, it completely breaks all our preconceived notions of like the Hulk. It's like, oh my god, I thought that this guy was unbeatable. I thought that was like, so it makes Thanos this foe to be reckoned with. And so in the past, the Smoking Man is at the top of the food chain.
Right.
He's the
end all be all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we then see he's part of a like, an organization, a deep state cabal, and he's terrified of these guys.
Yes.
So this guy who doesn't seem to be afraid of anything, he's always 1, 3, 10 steps ahead. This guy answers to people.
Yeah.
And this immediately makes those guys go, oh shit, who are these guys?
Yeah.
If the Smoking Man's afraid of them, and it's a very quick, easy trick of without build-up. You don't have to use 5 episodes to make them a threat. You just make a character who's never been afraid of anything, who never shows any emotion. Because there's an episode where Mulder holds a gun to his face while he's like in his apartment, and he's just like
faced.
He's just like lighting a cigarette, like I don't give a shit. And it's like, okay, so this guy doesn't care about death. He's smoking every 2 seconds. He has a gun in his face. He's not. What do these guys have on him?
Right.
Why is he so afraid? What is it that? What do you think it is? You think it's that they can expose him and destroy his legacy. Like he has like a family. He doesn't look like he lives alone.
I think he likes his position, and he's like, he doesn't want to be, he doesn't want his power taken from him.
But your power would be taken from you if you died. But he doesn't want to live without it.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
He's more afraid of living powerlessly than just dying.
That makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. Okay. I buy that. Okay. So, yeah. She is told that someone close to you or some random assassins.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of like...
someone you know or someone you don't know.
This is like...
It's like, so anybody.
Yeah.
Literally anyone.
This is like, when someone tells me they went to a fucking psychic or like got a tarot card reading, and it's all just like super generalized bullshit. Sorry, I know people believe in this stuff. I just don't. We're not going to have that conversation. I know how Kaylee feels, but we're not going to get into a 30-minute conversation. But this is how that is to me, where you're just making random general things and people are like, oh, what? And it's like, that's literally anyone. That he literally didn't tell you anything.
Yeah, I think
it's either going to be someone you know or someone you don't. It's like, that's all the humans on Earth.
Yeah, I think in this case it's pretty broad parameters for like who you should be worried about.
And so, she thinks it's Skinner because Skinner comes to her place, steals the tape, and then leaves. And then she's like, why were you at my apartment? And he's like,
I wasn't.
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
wasn't there.
She's like,
yeah.
Motherfucker, don't gaslight me. I saw your bald ass walking out that room.
Yeah. You
better cop up to it. And he's like, nah. And then, they pull the guns on each other and whatnot. And the big thing that happens here, and spoilers, obviously, this show's old, so like, this is in the next episode as well. Okay, this is the last thing I'll say on this, and I think you'll agree with me. Once again, I love Dana Scully. I love her. But to me, she's 100% okay, not 100%, but 100% in the sense that she is completely culpable for the death of her sister. This is so insane to me.
Yeah.
She's told that people are going to come and kill her, probably at her place of residence.
Yeah.
She's there. Her sister calls her. She's like, Dana, I'm coming over. She's like, okay. Number one, she should have never agreed to that.
Right.
Because why would you have someone you love come to your house
when there's
where
people that are
there's
out
someone
to kill
who
you.
has a hit out on you?
Yeah.
Your partner is probably dead.
Yeah.
His father was just killed.
Yes.
Like, they're taking people out. They're serious.
Yeah.
This isn't something where you're like, he told me, but these guys are always full of shit. No, Mulder's missing and presumably dead.
Yeah.
Mulder's father has been killed. Mm-hmm. Right? So she has every reason to believe that this is true. She knows that a hit is coming for her. Or at least she's been told this, so she has good reason to believe it's true. Decides to, have her sister come over, then changes her mind, calls her, because she gets an anonymous phone call kind of thing where she picks it up, no voice, whatever, and then she's like, what the fuck, that was weird. Oh, whoa, maybe I shouldn't have had my sister come over. She calls her, leaves a voicemail because her sister doesn't answer. Why do you think your sister didn't answer?
Well, she's thinking,
because she's on the way.
Maybe she's in the other room or something. That's why she's
You don't leave that kind of shit to chance. Don't leave that kind of shit to chance.
Fair,
she's like, I'm gonna look for you on the way.
Yeah.
No.
I agree. I think
she could have went a different direction. She could have whatever. No, this is insanity. You do not let your sister come to your house. You wait there. You wait outside. You put your back against the wall. You hold a gun and you wait at the front door. The only entrance that you know is there. And you wait for your sister to come because it's you already screwed the pooch. I'm sorry, you did. And you tell her you gotta go, and you get her the fuck out of there immediately, and you check all your cards. But you gotta wait for your sister because what happened? She died. She fucking dies. She dies in the next episode. So it's like, Dana, you knew better. And then Skinner shows up and he's like, I gotta show you something. She's like, no, and he's like, no, now. And he takes her away, and she's like, okay. And it's like, your sister? Hello?
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Yeah, she kind of forgets all of that.
This is complete incompetence on her part, and I genuinely blame her sister's death on her. I don't see an argument against it. I get it, she's flustered, and it's like, oh, hopefully she gets my message. Dana, she said she was coming over. She literally left. You called her back. She ain't getting that message. I mean, is there a chance? Yeah, she went into the other room and then she came over and she listened to the message and isn't coming? Sure, there's a chance. But there's also a really big chance that she's coming over to a place that someone's looking for a woman to kill. Or even if they don't kill her, they will still grab her and use her as a negotiation tactic and be like, trade you for your sister. Or sweat her for information and then kill her. Mm-hmm. Whatever. You are putting her in imminent danger because you are not, like, realizing the gravity of the situation somehow. Even though you've been through this kind of shit 100 times.
Yeah.
I got nothing here. When it happened, I was like, Scully, come on. We have quite the storm going on outside. Holy
distracting.
Shit. Whoa.
Yeah.
It is pouring. Anything more?
No.
Okay.
That's everything.
So yeah, that's the opener. We'll finish this tomorrow with Paperclip, which is the end of this 3-episode arc, and I will try to check on those alien hybrids to see if they have. And if you got answers for it, leave them in the comments.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll see you in the next one. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.